Gobbledygook there. That's squad member Congresswoman Ilhan Omar now blaming a, quote, accounting discrepancy for errors in a financial disclosure that listed her and her husband's net worth at up to $30 million. Her amended filing now shows a massive shrinkage of shared assets of between $18,000 and $95,000, according to the Wall Street Journal.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for choosing to hang out with your host, the Conservative Bird, and me, Double D, and you're on the Brick Road Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. We really appreciate you guys stopping by and hanging out. Also, if you could, please make sure to hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, and smash the notification. It's the quick, easy, and free way to help this channel grow as big as possible. Double D, we got a fraudster on our hands.
We definitely do, and it's coming out of Minnesota. No surprise.
Hey,
you think she's a graduate from the Leering Center?
I really do. I really, really do. You know what's crazy? You know, it makes sense to why the Democrats are so upset and so mad at Nick Shirley for all the great journalism that he's been doing, all the undercover investigation that he's been doing, all the fraud that he's been uncovering with these fraudster Democrats, and they're panicking. They're pushing any button they can, saying anything they can to try and get in your head to make them think that they're not doing it, but they know what's really going on.
Oh, absolutely. And I know this has nothing to do with the Ilhan Omar case in Minnesota, but you know, in California, they're trying to create a law that's called the Nick Shirley Act so that you cannot expose fraud. You can't make this shit up, Bird.
I know, dude,
you can't.
Oh, you can't do good. You can only do bad in California, it seems like.
How dare you find fraud and undercover fraud and expose it? How dare you, America? Right. How dare you, Nick Shirley? I mean, dude, it's unbelievable. You can't write this shit. I can't believe it, dude. It's crazy.
And
it's crazy.
They say that we're communists, and they say that we're the ones that don't believe in the free speech. They say that we're the ones that go against the Constitution. Well, what do you call that? What is that?
Oh, you forgot to mention that we're also a threat to democracy.
Right. We're also deplorables. We're also this, that, and the third. It doesn't even matter anymore.
Nah, it does. Nobody cares what they have to say anyway.
When you tell an independent journalists that they're not to do investigative journalism, whether it's uncovering fraud, whether it's just into like a specific company, it doesn't matter what it is. Then you're literally going against you're going against the Constitution.
The First Amendment, to be exact, freedom of press. Isn't that what the Democrats are always screaming about? Their freedom of press. See, it's only freedom of press when it's their press, though. That's the only time they really care about that.
Exactly.
Other than that, it's all talking points and horse shit. It ain't even. They don't believe it for 1 minute. They never have, dude. The history of the Democratic Party has never believed in the First Amendment.
Not at all. Not at all. So, Ilhan Omar is now in some pretty hot water, if you ask me.
She's definitely looking at some serious fraud charges, at least her and her husband, that's for sure. You know, even though she's claiming she really didn't know. We'll see about that, right?
So, Speaker Johnson and the Republican leaders, she was a focal point of their weekly briefing meetings. You know what I mean? And good. It's about time, because honestly, I'd love to see this lady get deported. She has no business being in our government, no business being in American politics, and no business being in our country, period.
Honestly, I'd rather see her in a federal prison where she belongs.
I wouldn't be mad. I say just deport her and be gone with her.
Not until she does her time first. We got to start making these people go to prison, dude. Not a single person has gone to prison for any of this fraud from Minnesota, and it's really, really getting on my nerve. What if you and I committed that crime?
Yeah, that's true.
I guarantee you, dude, the IRS would be sending an agent to our houses, and we would be arrested.
You're not lying at all. You're not lying. So
And for a lot less and a lot less money than what she's being accused of, might I add.
Well,
let that clip roll, Bert. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry.
You're good. Let's see what the Republicans have to say about it, actually.
This is actually
See, this is perfect.
kind of nice. Thank you, Claire. Well, another day and another headline about a certain congresswoman's not so stellar record of honesty and competence. Last year, Ilhan Omar's financial disclosure revealed skyrocketing wealth. It showed a whopping net worth of up to $30 million, a 3,500% increase in wealth compared to just 2 years prior. Now she's trying to convince the world that she's actually only worth $95,000. Still quite a jump from 2 years ago, but in
Money.
revision of her disclosure,
Yep.
Ms. Omar is saying the multi-million-dollar discrepancy was nothing more than an accounting error.
What?
In what world is a multi-billion-dollar correction to a person's financial disclosure considered normal?
Yeah, since that's logical, Double D, to go from $19,000 to $3 million, or even the $95,000 to anywhere between $6 and $30 million. Yeah, that's just an accounting error. That's just accidentally added a zero.
It sounds like an accounting error to me, man. Yeah, I mean, how hey, damn that accountant. Shame. He couldn't get his numbers right. Here's the thing. If it was 90 million and then 19,000 or 95,000, I could see that mistake. That would be a zero mistake. But the numbers don't add up. 30 million, 95,000.
That's still not a zero mistake. That's like a 4-0 mistake.
Exactly.
And that's even way more of an anomaly that's going to happen if he's actually even an accountant. What kind of accountant is this?
Obviously not a very good one.
So if she doesn't go to jail, her accountant needs to go to jail for fraud.
Somebody needs to go to jail. Or honestly, she signed off on it.
Yeah.
So
perhaps this member's accountant, perhaps Ilhan's accountant, is a graduate from the Quality Lyrics Center.
That's probably where she graduated from too.
I'm sure that's where they both graduated.
Incompetence at best.
Maybe that's where he met her at. That's where they met each other, and she's like, "Oh, I want you to be my accountant."
Yes, they probably met at the Quality Lyrics Center. With all those non-existent children running around. Plenty of time to work out your numbers.
Crazy.
But this is just the latest in a long list of head-turning stories relating to this member from Minnesota. Ilhan cannot escape accountability much longer. Investigations are ongoing in House committees. The Trump administration has waged war on fraud. Her ties to convicted Feeding Our Future fraudsters are well documented. And her defense of these criminals who stole billions from hardworking taxpayers makes it very clear where her allegiance stands. Make no mistake.
Yes, it does.
If Ilhan Omar is discovered to have been involved in any or to have benefited in any way from any fraud, she must be held accountable to the fullest extent. And by the way, that includes marriage fraud. I yield to our leader.
There you go.
And you know what they're talking about. You know what they're talking about with that one, the little brother fucker.
Oh, yeah, she's a little brother fucker, that little brother fucker. I love saying that because it's so true. I mean, it's so true and it's hilarious.
So Double D, I found this clip to be quite redundant. It doesn't make any sense for the fact that this lady, I believe her name's Juanita Broderick. She might be the one that doing this. Oh, Lindell TV. Okay. So she asked her beforehand about her whole financial status. And she said, "You're full of shit." But then it all comes out and she asks her again and she still tells her she's... just listen. It's crazy. It doesn't make any sense.
Congresswoman Omar, the last time I spoke to you,
said that I was stupid for asking you about your financial disclosure, but there's some discrepancies on there. Would you like to explain that? How did you make such a big mistake on it?
Absolutely, you're stupid for asking me anything.
I am?
Yes.
Well, what about the American people who are wondering how you made such a big
I have
mistake?
explained to the American people.
What's the explanation?
I have given them the explanation.
Do you want to tell our viewers? Because they're
I don't want to tell you jack shit.
Oh.
How about that?
Okay.
Okay. Have a good day.
We know why. Because you don't make any sense. Because you got caught up in some shit and you don't want to be held responsible for it. You think you're above the law.
Oh, she's always thought she was above the law, dude. They need to prosecute her. She should have already been expelled from Congress, by the way.
Here's another video clip. This is from today of showing how smug and arrogant this bitch really is.
Tell us about your net worth dropping.
Just acting like he's not there.
Down to about 100,000. Could you just elaborate on what mistake was made, Congresswoman? What mistake was made on your financial disclosure forms to bring it down to 100,000 from?
I love it. Keep growing. You got to keep growing. You got to keep growing.
Yeah.
People are wondering why it dropped so far down. Does your husband still have the consulting business worth about $8 million? Tell us.
I bet not. I bet he doesn't have that business anymore.
No, that business is probably he's probably dissolved that pretty quickly, I would think.
Yeah.
So, you know what, man? She really does think that the Americans are stupid. And you know what? In a sense, the people of Minnesota were stupid because they voted for her.
Oh, no. We already know that the Democratic Party and the Republicans, they're all a bunch of idiots in Congress for the most part.
And when the state of Minnesota figured out that she was a brother fucker in the first place, that wasn't enough for them.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you know what? In a way, they kind of deserve it too. They deserve her.
You know what kills me? It kills me that they can literally just say, "Oh, it was a financial error." That's the thing that kills me the most about this.
It was an intentional financial error, but
Right.
What are you going to do? They'll prove it. The court of law, the feds need to bring the charges against her.
Oh yeah, hopefully
Simple as
Cash
that.
Patel does his thing on this one.
Yeah, he does. Let that clip roll, Bird.
Gobbledygook there. That's Squad member Congresswoman Ilhan Omar now blaming a, quote, accounting discrepancy.
Yeah,
for
okay.
errors in a financial disclosure that listed her and her husband's
Look at that.
up to
That's
$30
insane.
million. Her amended filing now shows a massive shrinkage of shared assets of between $18,000 and $95,000, according to the Wall Street
That's a
Journal.
difference of 3 zeros right there.
Says this proves that she is not a millionaire. Let's welcome certified public accountant Dan Geltrude.
That's not the point, you scumbag. Like she acts like she's Houdini or something, trying to pull a fast one over on everybody. Oh, I had 30 million. No, I don't.
It was an accident. We didn't mean to put the 3 zeros at the end. We really did it. We really did it.
Like, look at the mental gymnastics that the Democrats play, right? Oh, I'm worth
it's unbelievable.
I'm worth between $6 million and $30 million. Now I'm only worth $95,000. See, I'm not a millionaire. Like, no, we want to know where that number came from and why it's gone all of a sudden. We don't care what you have. We just don't understand why all you people cry. All you did was cry about Trump's taxes, cry about Republicans, cry about the rich people, cry about this, but then all these fucking scumbags just commit.
Millionaires are the oligarch.
Right, and then all these scumbags, people like fucking what's his name? Bernie Sanders has 2 houses and is a millionaire and is a lifelong politician. Bro, it just doesn't make sense. These people are fake and phony. They feed you lies and bullshit and make you think something is nothing when really there's a lot more to this than what she's acting like.
Well, Elon's been pissing on America's heads for a long time and telling us it's been raining for even longer. So, again, the state of Minnesota keeps voting her in. I'll bet you they still vote for her again if she runs again. I guarantee it, they'll elect her again, Bird.
This bitch hates America and needs to be deported.
Even though she admits looking
and thrown in prison,
she didn't notice the error, and she's blaming her accountant, Dan. What do you think about all this?
It's the busiest of people. It is very important. Come in, members. They're supposed to.
David, let's call this for what it is. When a
rely on their
congressperson
leered
has to file these
professionals.
financial disclosure firms, they are signing them, and by signing them, what are they saying? They're true, complete, and accurate to the best of their knowledge.
That's right.
So are you telling me that she didn't notice that her net worth went from 100,000 to 30 million?
Right,
So
right.
don't blame the accountant, and you can't say you don't know. Your signature on that form holds you legally accountable. So
Well,
the bottom line
she is saying, Dan, she's saying that she didn't know. She said her lawyer told the Office of Congressional Conduct that the errors resulted from relying on people like you, Dan, saying, quote, as the busiest of people,
It's
very
Dan's
common
fault.
for members and their spouses
Right,
to
it's our
rely on
fault, Double D.
learned professionals
Yeah.
like accountants. While the error is, of course, unfortunate,
As the busiest of people, it is very common for members and their spouses to rely on learned professionals like accountants to make calculations and determinations that appear on public filings.
Are you sure that wasn't quality leered professionals, Bird?
Oh, my bad. You're right. You're right. And to rely on leered professionals.
Dude, this lady is unbelievable, dude. You know, the craziest part is, again, the state of Minnesota is going to vote for her again,
Listen,
dude.
you know no, dude, she needs to be fucking deported.
She, of course she does, but you know what? We haven't seen any of that yet. When is that going to happen? Because all I keep seeing is the piss and rain falling on our heads, and nobody's doing anything about it.
So we have a couple of her quotes right here to end the video with.
Ilhan Omar's aides tell the Wall Street Journal that the error in accounting, that's what they call it, just didn't jump off the page for her because, you know, she's not really involved in her husband's businesses, her husband's many businesses. How would she know if they had $18,000 or $18 million? How could she possibly know? Now, a spokeswoman telling the Wall Street Journal, telling him this, the amended disclosure confirms that what we've said all along, the Congresswoman is not a millionaire. The Congresswoman amended her disclosures voluntarily as soon as the discrepancy was identified. That's quite a
discrepancy. As soon as it was identified. Oh, yeah.
Well, a lawyer, she shouldn't be in charge of anything money-related as a member of Congress. Listen, she's representing the lawyer representing the
Congressman. This was the one I read earlier.
Says that the inaccurate filing was not intentional. It was entirely accidental. And the lawyer said,
entirely
as
accidental.
the busiest of people, it is very common
for
that's
what it
members
was.
and their spouses to rely on learned professionals like accountants to make
Quality
calculations
learned.
and determinations that appear on public filings. While the error is, of course, unfortunate, there is nothing untoward and nothing illegal has occurred. That's what the lawyers say. Now,
we know what the lawyers say, but we know what's really going on.
Oh, dude, it's so obvious. Oh, my God, is it obvious? This woman is unbelievable. You know, they went after Trump for discrepancies in a value of property. All right. And it turned out he wasn't even really lying about the value of the property. And they charged him with 30 charges. And this woman's going to skate. I know it. She's going to, dude, I will be so shocked if they bring charges.
Let's have some faith that Trump will do something about this and Cash Patel will make an example out of her. So these
dude, I don't understand. I don't understand why it hasn't happened in the first place. I just don't understand it. I mean, this is blatant.
It's all just coming to light, to be fair.
That is true, but I mean, there have been some of those people who are, you know, part of the Minnesota billions and frauds from the Leering Center that have gone to prison and stuff like that, or they're in the process of going to prison. But there hasn't been any of the politicians held accountable yet.
Right? No, you're not lying.
Timmy Waltz, he isn't running again. So what? He still should be held accountable and he should go to prison.
I don't disagree.
Ilhan Omar needs to go to prison before they deport her ass afterward.
Since they're both from Minnesota, let's just throw Jacob Fry in prison with them too.
Yeah, I mean, just
you know what? I want to throw Jacob Fry in prison just for when he went to George Floyd's funeral. He got down on his knees and cried.
Did he really?
Can we just throw him in prison for being a pussy?
I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but I would throw him in there for being a pussy. Okay. I would do it if they let me. I would throw him in. You know what I mean? I would throw him in for leaving his like Joey from Fox was talking about. You know, the guy had his legs blown off.
Yeah.
The commentator had his legs blown off. He was talking about earlier or last night on their show about how Tim Waltz basically, you know, he was like a platoon leader or something like that, and he kind of ducked out right before the Iraq war because he was so afraid to go over to Iraq. So he basically got out of the service right away so that he wouldn't have to. Now, obviously, he had the right to do that, but it still says a lot about his character, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, he left. He left before the times got tough.
Yeah, and then he lets all this stuff go on while he's governor of Minnesota, which again says
he's a worthless scumbag.
I mean, that says a lot about his character. It says how, like you said, he's a worthless scumbag.
He's worthless.
He's a dirtbag and a half, dude. I mean, if there was a douche canoe of the decade, Tim Walz and Elon Omar would be the male and female douche canoes of the decade.
Yeah, well, that's
as a matter of fact, we should start that. Douche canoes of the day, douche canoes of the week, douche canoes of the decade. They're all three. They are all three.
There you go. Well, my final thoughts is Ilhan Omar needs to be charged, made an example of, thrown in prison for however long they decide that it's worth, whatever it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 1 year, I don't care, and needs to immediately be deported with no rights to ever come back in this country again.
I'm totally cool with that. I don't know if I can say it better than that. We already know where I stand. She definitely needs to be prosecuted. We need some accountability, or Americans are going to lose faith. We've already lost a lot of faith in the system to begin with. So we need accountability, and they can start with Elon's little ass right now. Because it's time, man. Elon Omar belongs in the penitentiary, in a federal prison. She should be the next Orange is New Black.
There you go. Well, on that note, we're going to end it. I just want to thank God, because without him, none of this is possible. I want to thank Double D. I want to thank my friends and family, and I want to thank the audience.
And as always, Bird, thank you for making the show happen every single time. Audience, as always, you're the reason, we're the reason, so thank you very much. But most importantly, I would like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because I'm alive here today thanks to God Almighty to bring this message to you. With all that, good night, y'all.
All right, everybody, have a good one. Peace.